Hi there. This is Dr. Judith Curts, and welcome to the Doc and Doc Show. Happy summer day, Santa Clarita. We're so happy to be with you, and I am with my colleague, Dr. Gregory Jenkins, and we are so excited to invite you in. You know, this is showing live. I mean, this is live today, and we want you to call in. We talk about health, we talk about relationships, intimacy, sexuality. So if you've ever wanted to just, if you're at a social gathering, you want to grab a doctor and say, hey, I've always wanted to know that. Why don't you take that opportunity and do it? Please call us today. You can use a fake name. We don't care. Call us at 298-5487, 298-5487. We are live on the air right now, and we have things to talk to you about, but number one, we want to talk to you about your concerns and what's bothering you now, or what you've always wanted to know and never asked or just kind of wondered about. So please do call in and talk to us. It's like walking into our office, and we don't even charge you. So, Dr. Jenkins, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I've been thinking, and I've been talking to you, Judith, about some medications that people take for psychiatric illnesses. And those medications many times have a really bad effect on your sex drive. So I thought maybe if you have time, we could go over some of those medicines and maybe make suggestions for what's the best medicine. Now, Dr. Kurtz, when you see patients, do they usually have medicine before when you see them?
Sometimes, I would say half and half, but many people are so highly resistant. They will come to see me for anxiety or depression or sexual issues, and they are so resistant to taking an antidepressant for many reasons. They don't like the side effects, and they just feel like it's a weakness. And I certainly don't see it as a weakness. I think it's a strength to say I need some help right now. I can admit years ago I had a loss in my family, and I was very sad, and it was hard, and I took something for a short time, and it really helped me. It got me out of the sadness, and certainly I think there's nothing to be ashamed of for taking medication if you need it short time or long time. It increases your quality of life. But I'm glad we're talking about this, because I think people really don't know about the side effects and what they can do. It's kind of like, well, here's the side effect for an antidepressant makes me feel better, but I don't want to have sex, and that makes me feel bad. So help us out here.
Well, many times the patients come to me and I maybe suggest medication, and they're sometimes resistant to it because they don't like the side effects.
Right.
And they want to try to do it, but sometimes some people are so ill with psychiatric illnesses that they really need some help.
They have to.
And I talk to sometimes patients, I say, look, if you were a diabetic, you would never want to say, I don't want to take my insulin because it may have side effects, because it's helping you. And so for these medicines, the same thing, they're going to help you. And you don't have to be on it forever. You have to be on it long enough to get better.
Sure.
And it's going to help therapy. It's going to help you be more clear.
There's an old expression, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and I think generations past used to say that, and that still has a residual thought with us today, and I hope that maybe we can help some people to realize you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that taking a little medication or a lot, whatever you need, is really helpful, and it will make your quality of life so much better.
One of the things about taking those kind of medicines, and we're talking medicines like Prozac and Boost Bar, Zoloft, Celexa, Lexapro, those medicines, they take up to 2 weeks to work. So the patient taking the medicine, they don't really see any improvement.
Well, we want instant gratification.
We do, you're right. So sometimes they have to take two medicines. They have to take a medicine which is short-acting to help with their anxiety, and while the other medicine is starting to work. And after 2 weeks, it should be fully functional.
And I think that patients are, whether they're too ashamed or too shy or whatever, to mention to their physician, gee, is this going to decrease my libido? Is it going to? And I think we need to look at different ones because there are some SSRIs that you can choose. There's just a variety that perhaps will increase your libido, and I find that pretty darned exciting. What do you think?
I think you can be excited by it, yes. But yeah, there's several of these medicines that are safest to take, and they work on the prolactin system, and that's the same hormone that makes women develop breast milk, and the same hormone that happens during childbirth. So those are usually good times. You feel good when you're breastfeeding. You feel good when you're having a baby because of the prolactin.
And when you feel good, you want to interact with your partner. You want to be sexual. I mean, win-win.
That's right. And there's a couple medicines that can help. One is called Wellbutrin, and that's Welbutrin, and the other one's Remeron, Remeron. And the Wellbutrin is works so well and has so little side effects. As a matter of fact, that's the only one that actually increases your libido. So if you're kind of in a cold time and you're not really interested in intimacy and you have to start a medicine, that would be the front runner.
So maybe we should put it in the water.
I think that's true. I tell patients, okay, let's say, all you do is have sinus infection, so I want to put the antibiotic in your water.
In the water.
Forget the fluoride, and then for the people that are having stress, we put Wellbutrin or some other medicine in the water.
Right. So please don't be ashamed or shy to ask for something, even if you're feeling just kind of low and you think, well, I'm not totally depressed, I'm not suicidal. There are 3 different levels of depression. There's mild, moderate, and severe. And mild depression can be helped with some medication. And also, you can use some cardio work. Sometimes that will help people who are on something that decreases their libido, because that will help how you feel about yourself.
Right, that's exactly right. So sometimes going for a run or a jog is one of the best things you can do when you're down.
Yeah, but when you're down, it's hard to get motivated to do it.
It's hard to get out of the house. You're exactly right.
So, I highly recommend to my patients that they at least try something, see a doctor, try some medication. They don't have to tell anybody, but there's nothing to be ashamed of. I think it's the healthy people that say, hey, I want a better lifestyle.
You're right, and that's I talked about earlier, was that the patients that are diabetics, they'll never complain about taking the shot of insulin because they need it.
Right.
And so you should never complain about taking Wellbutrin or some medicine that your doctor gives you because you need it. And it's going to be temporary, not like diabetes, but it's going to be temporary once you work through this. And
you start feeling better, and hey, win, win, win.
Now, doctor, do you find any medicine that works best with therapy? Like, if you're going through cognitive therapy, have you ever taken a list and say, okay, everybody that's on cognitive therapy takes Elavil or Prozac, or is there?
Not really.
Okay.
In fact, what I do, I generally have a good relationship with the medical doctor that they're going to see, or psychiatrist, and we'll talk to each other and say, hey, what do you think about this, and recommend. It's really kind of a chemistry. It's just deciding what's right for what patient, don't you think? Or
I think we need like a better testing. If there was some blood test we could do that would say this is what medicine you need. For antibiotics, we can take a sample and find out which is the best medicine.
Right.
And same with heart disease, we can find out which is the best medicine.
So with what we're talking about, they always talk about an art and a science. I mean, you can get the science, but there's an art.
No, that's exactly right. Just tailoring the medicines, tapering them up or down to make sure there's no abrupt changes in the body.
What other medicines are we talking about that decrease libido? So, look into your medicine cabinet. What have you got now? What are you taking and you're not feeling really sexual or completely alive right now? What might you be taking? What is that?
Well, for men, with hair loss, they start taking the Rogaine medicines. That makes your hair grow, but it makes other things not happen, I should say. Propecia. And they also would be the medicines for prostate swelling, the one called Flomax, and there's one other one also. Those also cause hair loss and decreased libido.
Okay, so what can you do about it?
Well,
What are the alternatives?
If you take the medicine, you have to stop one thing, you're starting something else. So you have to decide, really, is it worth that?
And hey, bald is in right now, right, ladies? I mean, a lot of people like bald men, and men are shaving. When they start losing their hair, they just shave it and say the heck with it, build up the big muscles, and they look really hot. So,
Okay. Okay, if they're hot.
I don't know.
I'm going to leave that up to you to decide.
I mean, wouldn't you rather be bald, hot, and have a good libido instead of taking, I don't know.
A full head of hair and no libido? Like that?
Yeah, full head of hair, and there you are. You don't want anybody. That's kind of sad. Anyway, anybody have any opinions or experiences? Call in at 298-5487. We would love to talk to you and have you be part of our show. And even if you come up with something like, I wish you all would do a show on this or that, hey, we'll do it. We're going to have some future shows that we've planned, and we'll tell you about those later. But we're here for you, and we want to answer your questions. Okay, more drugs.
Well,
What else?
I think any medicine that's taken every day, there's a possibility that it can lower your libido.
Tell me why.
Because, not every medicine has been tested that way.
What I hear about quite a bit with women, the birth control pill, that it, and you've got some interesting news on that. It used to lower the testosterone, so women's libido would go down. They weren't at all interested. They had sex. I mean, they had birth control, but they didn't want to have sex. So what's the point there? And yet there's some women who, when they get a very good birth control method, it increases their libido because it increases their confidence.
Yeah, there's actually a medicine, a birth control medicine, that has a mixture of estrogen type of medicine plus testosterone. It has a very little amount of testosterone, which will counteract the downsides of the estrogen part of it. And many women are switching over to that.
Is that new?
Not too new.
Okay. See, I haven't heard of that.
No,
so
not
I'm
too.
excited about that.
We'll get you some. We'll sign you up for some.
Sign me up for some. Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so we've gone over, the antihistamines.
Yeah, the Benadryl type of medicines, the ones that you see at the drugstore without a prescription, that works really well for a rash and itching and runny nose, but it's really bad for your libido.
I don't know how interested I would be in being close to a person with a rash and itching. I don't know. I don't know. So maybe it doesn't matter. However, I know that we've talked about the timing for Benadryl is like 8 hours, so you can not take the medicine and then take it after you have sex, but it will increase.
Or it'd be
libido.
like a Plan B pill, right?
A Plan B.
The
I
Plan
like
B,
that.
Plan B, but the usual Plan B is the after morning intercourse pill. Oh, I forgot to have my birth control pills. I don't want to get pregnant, so you buy the drugstore at the Plan B.
And is that over the counter, Plan B?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
But this is the Benadryl. This is a different Plan B. This works a different way.
I still can't get over that rash. I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah.
That's a little scary. And the next one that I made a list. I mean, Dr. Jenkins knows all about these medicines, but I did make a little list. How about, I'd like to talk about medical marijuana. Because that, I know, is legal in 20 states, including our wonderful, beautiful state of California. But let's talk about medical marijuana.
I had heard they're going to put a medical marijuana store downtown Newhall.
Seriously?
No, just kidding.
Oh, he's kidding.
I don't think it's going to be allowed in the city.
Okay. But, okay.
But we can talk to them about it.
But if they have it, I mean, if it's legal in California, why can't they open a store? What would be the resistance?
It's local rules. The city has, county and city and the state all have different rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone buys it somewhere and it's legal where they buy it, can they use it in Newhall?
Yes, they can use it in Newhall.
Okay.
They just have to purchase it from a dispensary, they call them, I think.
So go out of town, folks, if you want your medical marijuana, and make sure that you get it legally. But it's interesting. Years ago, I don't want to age myself because I lie about my age, but I know years ago people would talk about, oh, when you smoke pot, it really makes sex better. And now, I don't know if it's a stronger marijuana or what it is, but it really decreases libido.
It does. You're overly relaxed.
And that's not good.
Now you just fall asleep afterwards.
Yeah.
Eat something and go to bed.
We want some tension in that sex. We want some passion and some tension. We don't want, oh, I don't care. Whatever you want to do, doesn't matter.
Hey, baby.
We were talking about that before the show. It's like Trump, Clinton, what do I care? Just be cool. So you don't get into a lot of bar fights with that. So that's good.
But we're going to be coming back in a few minutes.
Oh, I hope so.
And we're going to talk about narcotics that can cause problems. We're going to talk about anti-anxiety medicines like Xanax. And I would think in my office, Xanax is one of the most requested medicines for stress.
Yes.
And sleeping pills are related to them. They're going to have problems with those too. So I think you're going to find that there's so many medicines that can cause problems. You have to go one by one and find ones that work for you, and work with your physicians or your therapist and find one that works the best for you. And unfortunately, there's not a blood test for it. There's trial and error.
Well, call in 298-5487. And we will be back. Get your phones ready.
Oh, I should remind you that we do have emails. If you just email us at the station here, I think it's under Doc and Doc.
Doc at hometownstation.com.
Doc at Hometown. That's it. Doc at hometownstation.com.
Yeah.
So just call us on that, and we'll be back in a few moments here, and we'll talk some more. Thank you.
Thank